Okay, so my name is Jenna Pontius. I'm the Reference and Instruction Librarian at the Riverside County Law Library, and we are doing a Lexis digital library collection training today about our new digital library. So Andrea Roberts from Lexis will be going over the homepage and other features of the Lexis digital library. If you haven't already, you can sign up for access by a form that I'm going to share in the chat. And you can also go to our website at rclawlibrary.org to access information about Lexis and fill out that form as well. So without further ado, Andrea, you can go ahead and take it away.
Perfect. Thanks, Jenna. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Again, I'm Andrea Roberts, the digital media consultant for the LexisNexis Digital Library. And today we're just going to go over all of the features and functions of your digital library that you now have access to. When you log in, so once you log in with your credentials, this will be your homepage. Each homepage will look a little different. We're currently looking at my homepage. So you're going to see my recently read titles up here, any notes or highlights I've added, any tags I've added to titles. All of these will be customized to your unique usage of the digital library. So when you first log in the very first time, you won't see much here, but as you start reading or adding notes and highlights, it'll slowly start populating to show all of your usage. Couple things to point out from this homepage. On your left-hand side will be where you can navigate through the digital library. This will always be here, so you'll always be able to jump back to your homepage or look at any of the titles you've borrowed. All of that will always appear on the left-hand side. You'll also have a search bar always up at the top here. So when you log in, if you know exactly what you're looking for, you'll be able to type in an author, a specific title or a subject that you're looking for, and just click search, and it'll search through the entire catalog for you. If you click Browse Library here on your left-hand side, that's going to take you to a few featured collections that we've had created already for you. So the very first one you're going to see is frequently used titles. This is going to be primarily your California Forms of Pleading and Practice, all of your Deering's codes, your United States Code Service, all of those are just in one collection for you. It's going to show the first few titles right here on the homepage. But if you want to see everything that's part of that collection, you can just click on the collection itself, or where it says see all 576 titles right here. And that's including, all of these multi-volume sets. So if you think about how large the entire Deering's California set is, there's a ton of titles right there for you, or a ton of volumes for you to look at. Down below, we also have just a California practice series. This is going to be all of your California titles or California specific titles. Again, same concept. You can click on the title of the collection itself if you don't see exactly what you're looking for right here. And at the very bottom, we have all of our recently added. When you log in right now, because the library is so new, everything is going to be recently added. But this is where you can go in the future to see if there's any new additions or new releases that have been added to your library. If we scroll back up, again, we can always search for a specific title or subject right here in the search bar. So if we just want to see everything that we have on Discovery, so I can type in Discovery, click search, and it's now going to run through and show me all of our titles that deal with just Discovery. In this first page here, it'll say all titles, and that means it's just going to expand out all of these multi-volume sets. So the first thing you see here is Bender's Forms of Discovery. It's a very large set, but it's going to expand each volume out for you. If you know what volume you want, you can easily jump into it. This results page here is giving you a couple different options. It's going to show you just the title information, when it was released or updated. And if you knew that volume 1 was exactly what you wanted, you can click read right from here and automatically jump into that title. However, if you want a little bit more info, say you're not really sure which volume you need, you can just click on the title itself. And that's going to take you to a book details page. That's what we call it. And that's going to give you a ton of information about this title. So on your left-hand side here, you'll see your edition and release information, when it was last updated. it'll tell you how many copies are available. So if you jump in here and you see that it says 0 of 1 copies, it'll actually just say place a hold instead of read. And that means that you can place a hold so that you'll be the next person in line to borrow that title. You'll also be able to put your email address in there, so you'll get an email notification when that title is available for you. On your right here, you'll have a lot more info. So the first thing you'll see is a table of contents. On every title in our digital library, you'll see this table of contents. And when you click on it, you have the ability to expand all. When you do that, it's going to expand out every single section within this table of contents for volume 1. And each of these is hyperlinked. So if you scroll down here a little bit, if you knew that you wanted to jump into chapter 1 for accountants and you wanted to look at this specific form, you can actually click on it and it will take you right to that specific section within this title. It's a really easy way to search through the digital library, look at your table of contents, and then immediately jump into the content that's specifically important to you during your research. A little farther down here, you'll have a link to all those volumes. So if you suddenly remember you needed volume 2 instead, you can jump into it right from here. And we also have links to prior releases. So any title that has a prior release, you'll have access to it just by going into this book details page. When you click on it, click prior releases, it'll just open up and you'll have the ability to click in and open any specific release going back all the way to about 2011 in our system. So it'll tell you what the release number was and what date it was. All you have to do is click read and it will open up that prior release. Lastly, if we look on our left-hand side again, you'll have a link to that title. So if you knew someone else that has access to the digital library needed this specific title, you can send them that link. You can add tags. So if there's titles you're going to use over and over again, you can actually tag them so that you don't have to search for them each time. For instance, if I knew I was going to use volume 1 of Bender's Discovery forms, all I have to do is create a tag, and I can say Discovery. Create that tag. It'll actually show up here. And then the next time I need this volume, I'll be able to just go either to my home page or where it says my tags here and jump into it right from there. So I don't have to run that extra search step to find it. I'll go over it again in a second, but just know that that's available. You can create as many tags as you want. You can add as many titles to them as you want. We never touch them, meaning Lexis on the back end here never looks at your tags or deletes them at any point. They'll be there until you delete them. Finally, you'll have a link to the entire set. So if you want to see the entire set all at one time, you can just click in here. And for any multi-volume set on our system, you have what we call search this set. So whether you're in the set itself or in a single volume, you'll be able to search through the entire set with either a phrase or a keyword that you're looking for prior to actually clicking read. So if I knew I was looking for information on asbestos, I can type in asbestos, click search, and it's now going to look through all 35 volumes and tell me, chapter 10 specifically deals with asbestos. It's in volume 1. If I look here, it's bolded and highlighted my search terms for me. Gives me a little snippet of information here. So if I wanted to expand more, I can actually click show all and it will give me a larger chunk. So I can tell if that's exactly the section I want to get to. If I wanted to start from the beginning of, volume 1, again, I can just click read. But if I want to jump right to chapter 10, all I have to do is click go to passage right here. And what that's going to do, it's going to let me borrow this title. So it's going to pop up and tell me, yes, borrow. You just click borrow. It'll open it up for you. There we go. And what that's going to do is actually drop me into Bender's Forms of Discovery right to chapter 10, which deals with asbestos. While it's opening, one quick feature to point out, we work best on Google Chrome. You can use Firefox or Internet Explorer. You can also use Edge Chromium. The only thing we don't work well with is, excuse me, is Internet Explorer, but any other modern browser will work with the digital library. We suggest Chrome just because if you're planning on printing anything, it's the best for printing. But again, you can use any other modern browser. Okay, so we clicked on that link from our digital library search. We're now here under asbestos for chapter 10. It does highlight, so it draws your eye to it here, just so you can know where to start reading. However, throughout the digital library, so when you're in this read feature, if you're looking for something else within this volume, there is a search button up here. So if I click search, it'll open up and allow me to run an additional search through the digital library. Any of your search results will be hyperlinked. So if I suddenly wanted to look for accountant, I can click search and all of these sections will be highlighted for me and hyperlinked. If I just click on one, it'll take me directly to it. From here, you'll see up at the top, you have a bunch of different options. So I mentioned printing. Printing, again, will work best in Chrome just because it allows you to choose your specific pages or page ranges you might want to print. You can choose to physically print. So if you want a hard copy, you can print that. If you prefer just to have a PDF of all of your information, you can print a PDF. So just know that that's available. As you're searching or going through the title itself, if you're on your computer, you can just click on the right or left-hand side of the screens to move through. You can also use your arrows, so your forwards and backwards arrow keys. Those will navigate you throughout the digital library. Anything hyperlinked in blue within the digital library will link you within this specific title, so this specific volume. Anything you see hyperlinked in green, those are going to be primarily cases or codes. Those would link you directly to Lexis Advance. So it's a really easy way to go from your treatise material to your case law or your codes right from the digital library. Moving on here, you have the ability to highlight and annotate as much as you want on the digital library. Know that any of your notes and highlights are going to be unique to your user ID. So no one else will ever see those notes and highlights. If someone else comes and reads this title after you, they'll never see what you highlighted or annotated. All of those notes are unique to you, and they will be there until you delete them or you delete your user ID completely. That's the only time they get deleted from our system. It's really simple to add a note or a highlight. All you have to do, let's choose a little section here. All you have to do is click and drag your cursor. So if we want to start here, we'll just click and drag it. And a couple options will pop up. The first is going to be add an annotation. The second is copy with citation. And the third is copy passage link. Copy passage link would literally just copy this selected text here and put it into a hyperlink form. So if you know someone else was looking for this specific title and this specific section, you can actually send them a link. When they click on it, they would be directed to this section. Copy with citation, if anyone that's watching this is familiar with copy with cite on Lexis Advance, it's the same concept. All you do is you click copy with citation, it'll copy the section of text, and then when you paste it into an email or a Word document, it will include the hyperlinked citation as well. So a really easy way to add that citation for you. Probably the most used would be that add annotation. So when I click on it, this window will pop up. I can add whatever notes I want to it. So if I want to say, I can add my note. I can customize my highlighting colors. It defaults to the bright yellow, but if I'm feeling, I don't know, we'll go some bright blue today. I can change that. All I have to do then is click done. And I've now added that highlight. And it might be a little small on your screen, but there is a little red sticky note icon that pops up. And that's just your visual cue to let you know that you've also added an annotation here. Again, you can add as many notes and highlights as you want. No one else will ever see them. So just keep that in mind. couple other things you can do. I mentioned you can search. You also have the ability to look at all of your annotations and highlights. Throughout the digital library, you're going to see access to your notes and highlights in multiple places. The first spot is always going to be here when you're in read and you're looking at the title itself. You can click on annotations. It'll show you what you've highlighted, any notes you've added, and we give you the ability to print them right from here. So if you do like to have a hard copy of your notes and highlights from a title, you can print them or print them to PDF right from this screen. Same concept with your table of contents. It's hyperlinked as well. So if you click on table of contents, it'll show you where you currently are in this title, but every section within it is hyperlinked. So you can quickly jump into any section just by clicking on it. Everything I'm showing you on the computer, you also have the ability to do on the mobile app. So keep that in mind. It'll look just a little different because you're only going to see like a single page view when you're looking on the app. But everything that I'm doing is available on the app itself. And it should be a seamless transition. So if you start reading on, say, your iPad, and the next time you go to open this title, you open it on your laptop, it'll actually take you to where you left off on your previous device. It will sync from device to device. So you shouldn't have any problems just immediately picking up no matter which device you happen to jump on at that point. You'll be able to highlight and annotate as well on your mobile device, so you have that ability. Last thing to point out when you're in a read feature here, it does default to this 2-page view, but you can always customize that to just a single page view if you want. Up at the top, you do have a settings option. And this is where you can go to customize pretty much everything for your digital library. You can change the size of the font, the spacing, the type of font. All the way down here, you can choose all of these custom features. And you have a lighting option. So depending on what device you might be reading off of, it defaults always to this bright white background, but you can change that to a sepia or a dark mode, depending on what you prefer. Just know that the ability is there to change it. It's in your settings. And if you do change them, make sure you click Done up at the top right, and it will remember those settings for future use, so you don't have to do it each time that you come in here. I know there's a couple people on the call, so does anyone have any questions at this point? I'll have time to at the end, just to, so you know, but any questions about the read features?
I haven't seen any this is Jenna. I haven't seen any come up in the chat yet. Okay. But they can put them in the chat, and then, like you said, there's a question and answer feature at the end.
Perfect. Okay, moving back to the digital library. If you want to get out of this title itself, all you have to do is click Close up at the top left, and it will automatically take you back to where you left off, which was our search results for asbestos that we clicked into. If we go back to the left-hand side here, you'll see your books, so my books. This just keeps track of all of the titles you've checked out or borrowed. When you go through, it'll tell you when you borrowed it. If you still have it checked out and you're done with it, you'll see this little clock-looking icon. If I click on that, I have the ability to return it. It'll tell me how much longer I have the title for, but if I'm done with it, I can just click Return, and it will automatically go back into circulation so the next person in line can check it out. If you forget, so if you completely forget to return the title, it'll automatically just go back into circulation when your checkout period's over. Nothing happens, it'll just go back into circulation. So it's okay if you happen to forget to return it early. I'll just go ahead and return all of them here. So it's that simple. On the left again, I mentioned that you have access to your notes and highlights from multiple places in the digital library. Always, the first one is going to be on that home page where you come in and you see any of the notes and highlights you've added. But also, under My Annotations on the left-hand side, that's where you can go to see a breakdown of all of the notes and highlights you've created. It divides them up by title. So it gives you the ability to see each of your notes and highlights by title. If I click into it, it'll show me up at the top here which edition and release number I had added that to. It'll tell me what color I highlighted it in. It'll tell me what the highlighted text is, what note I've added. It'll have a link to the citation. So if I click on it, it will actually take me directly to this highlight and that note. It'll tell me when I created it. And you'll see these 3 dots on the right-hand side. If I click on those, it'll actually tell me that I can copy it, which is really helpful if you just know that you want to copy the citation. But I also have the ability to add notes and highlights to an export queue. And I'd like to point that feature out just because if you're grouping together lots of notes and highlights from multiple titles, we give you the ability to really organize all of your notes and highlights to your preference. So if I just say add to export queue, you'll see that it tells you on the bottom, and then over here it'll say export queue and it'll show you how many you've added. But let's go back to a different annotation that I might have added. We'll add that one to my queue as well, just so you can see it. And then if I go into my export queue itself, you'll see that it's gathered together the 2 that I added. If I just select them all, again at the bottom here, I can say copy. So if I just want to copy both of them, I can paste them into whatever I'm working on. But if I actually click export, that's when all my options pop up. So that's where I can then choose to download them to a Google Drive account. I can download them to a PDF or an Excel file. So it really gives you the ability to customize, all of your notes and highlights and how you're going to be organizing them, which is best suits your specific needs. So just know that that's available. All you have to do is add them to an export queue. If we're done with them, we'll just say remove, and they've disappeared from my queue. Last thing I want to talk about, we have added that tag. So if you remember, we added that discovery tag when we went into vendors' discovery forms. Couple places you're going to see them. Again, always on your homepage. You'll always see all of your notes and highlights as well as any of the tags you've added. Just right here, it'll say discovery because I just added that one. I also had created one for IP a while ago. So I can always jump into them right from here. Or on your left, there is the My Tag section. If I click on that, you'll see that there's a discovery tag right from here, as well as that IP. If I click into it, it'll show you that title I added. So again, it's just a really easy way to quickly jump into those titles that you're going to use over and over again. Again, we don't touch those tags. They'll stay there until you delete them. You can always edit them when you're in them. Right from here, there's a little edit button. But just know that they're always available for you. Just a really easy way to get to the content you're constantly looking for. That is pretty much all I have for you guys. I know it was a quick overview of the digital library, but does anyone have any questions at this time? Okay. If anyone's watching this later on and we're not live, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to your librarians. You can always reach out to me as well, but I'll be happy to forward any questions you have my way. If at any point you want just an individual, quick session, we can always schedule a time for you and I to go over any questions that you have with the digital library. Again, my name is Andrea Roberts, so always feel free to reach out to me or your librarians. That's it.
Thank you, Andrea. So I'm adding in the chat right now the email for the law library, and then I'm adding your email as well. Is that okay, Andrea?
Perfect. Yes, thank you.
So yes, if there's any questions with the digital library, this has been recorded, so it'll be posted later. You can contact staff in the email that I provided or by the phone number 951-368-0368. You can also contact Andrea if there's issues with the digital library itself. And I don't see any questions coming up in the chat. I do have one question for myself.
Sure.
So On the books where it says read, so that just automatically checks it out for you. It doesn't act because in ebooks that I've done before, like in collections I've gone through other libraries, it says check out.
Right. So if you're looking at, if we go here to read, it actually used to say borrow, and then you'd have to go and choose to check it out. Now, all you have to do is click read, and then it'll have that borrow button right here, and it will automatically open it for you. So there shouldn't be any additional screens to that.
Okay, that's helpful. Okay, someone's asking me to repeat the phone number. So the phone number for the library for the Riverside location is 951-368-0368. And I'll put it in the chat as well. And then the phone number for the Indio location is 760-848-7151. So staff at either location would be able to help you. So let's see any other questions. I'll give it a second just in case someone's typing.
Not a problem.
And if you haven't yet gotten access to the library, signed up for access, I'm going to put a link where you would sign up. So you would fill out a form, and then you're going to be getting an email from the library with what your username and password is, and then you'll be able to log on. You can also access this form on the library's website, which is rclawlibrary.org, and I've plastered Lexis Digital Library stuff all over it. So there's a big picture when you log on, so hopefully you'll be able to see it.
Perfect. And I forgot to mention also, the offline read is available both for iOS users, so for your iPhones, and for Android users at the Google Play Store. You just have to search for LexisNexis Digital Library, and they're both free to download. And
I've put the offline mobile app guide, this getting started guide, and an access flyer all on the website as well. And then I will be following up with everyone via email to give you a direct link to the recording, and then I can attach those documents as well. So I don't see any other questions coming through. So I'm going to end the recording